Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Green Dragons Gaming Club. Without us, they never feel like winners. Without them, we couldn't look so good. So again, we're based out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. If you're in the area, you know where we are by now. If you've been watching on my channel, reach out to us. We'd love to get a game in. I know would love to try to get a tournament set up for Northeast and everything else. So definitely reach out to us. I'm Sir MC 2015 up on the boards. My name is Mark. And going back to our roots, once again, we have Ryan with me today.
Hey, everybody. What's going on, YouTube?
And we are going to be doing another joint session for our YouTube game today, being Ninth Age. We got another 4,500 point game in. And is this your tournament list that you...
Yeah, this is a practice game for Mountain Mayhem tournament in Virginia. And yeah, this is the vampire list that I've been practicing on Universal Battle for a while now. But as I said to Mark, I need practice with it on the table. Playing on the table is different than playing on Universal Battle. For those of you that play, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I prefer tabletop versus UB any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Oh, me too. And the reason we finally got to do this was because I actually magnetized most of the army. So I wasn't like... It's way too cumbersome when you have so many skeletons and zombies and things like that. You got to pack up and put away. So
I don't know that issue.
Yeah,
I got rid of that. I got rid of that army. For those of you who obviously you don't know me out there, I have owned just about every single army with the exception. We figured this out one day. Orcs and goblins. I've never owned an Orcs and Goblin army.
So much hatred for them.
Yes, no, they're green and that's it. It's not easy being green. But I have owned every other army there is at this point in time. So, or at least been building it at one point. So tonight we have our Vampire Covenant versus Dwarven Holds. And again, 4,500 points using 1.34 rules.
Yep. And these are both our tournament lists that we're going to be bringing.
And let's see, we're playing Breakthrough. And classic or standard deployment.
Yeah, just battle line.
Battle line.
It's called.
Yeah, it's called battle line. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we started going one-on-one. And again, another army of Ryans that has me outdropped.
Not hard to do against dwarves, but still.
It is against my army.
You do have a lot of drops for a dwarf army.
Yeah, I do. And I mean, my list... Again, I've been playing the same list now for a while. I've read since, was it Battlecry?
Yeah, basically. But I mean, you had, even before Battlecry, you had a list that there were some differences, but it was still like, at the core, a very similar list. Yeah, so Mark is playing his usual dwarf list. This is the VC list I've been playing on UB. And it's been doing pretty well. I've been winning more games than I've lost on UB. It's consistent, so I'm trying it on the tabletop. Going over deployment, you can kind of see how terrain was set. I set the terrain, without knowing what the deployment or the objectives would be, and we didn't do it out of the book, obviously.
No.
So I got the short end of the stick as far as the table side. Mark won the roll off, took the top. And now I have a big piece of impassable terrain and a river that I got to follow myself through.
What river?
Or not river.
Oh, the pond.
Sorry, excuse me, pond. I meant to say. So this is my list. I'll go over real quick. On the left, you see two Shrieking Horrors. They're going to just try to scream down that flank and either get behind his lines or sweep across and use the impassable terrain. And also, the organ guns are on the other side. So after Mark dropped, I could kind of hide them a bit. I've got two Great Bats behind the impassable terrain, a unit of 30 Skellies with sword and board, full command. That Varkalak model that's behind them is actually my general. It's a 50mm base, so that's the proxy. He's mounted on a monstrous Revenant, and he's got a 24-inch March bubble because he's a von Karnstein vampire. And he grants hard target and a 12-inch bubble, so he's staying there to give the barrel guard additional -1 in case the organ guns want to open up on them, and he's very equipped to do well in close combat, but he grants some synergy to the army as well.
I want to like to interject one
Mm-hmm.
thing. After playing Ryan so many times, he uses the synergy of every army you play.
Oh,
You use it
nice.
really, really well. That's one thing, and that's one thing that, like, I love KOE. I
Mm-hmm.
can't get my synergy going. One is not that the army doesn't have synergy, but I'm not playing a peasant list.
Right.
I refuse to play. Like, I don't mind mix arms, but I can't do peasants.
There's some internal balance issues.
There's a lot of balance issues,
Yeah.
but versus my dwarves, the way my dwarves are designed, where I have them to compete in every phase of the game
Mm-hmm.
and also use the synergies. Okay, and
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's whoever uses their synergies better, that's who's going to win the game.
Yeah. Well, thanks for saying that. Yeah. And you'll kind of see what the theme of this army is, and as far
Dead things.
yeah, as
I
far
see
as
dead people.
as far as vampires go, this is about as good as you can get in competing in every phase of the game. Because I actually have a little bit of shooting, which is something that they don't normally
No.
bring to the table. Bear Guard in the center with my Bear King BSB, and then behind them is my zombie bunker with Cadaver Whacking, a couple of Necromancers. We all know how that is. And then on the right flank, I vanguarded my wolves up, and then I have another block of 30 skellies with sword and board. So that's deployment. Mark got first turn.
Now, I'm trying to remember why I'd wanted first turn. Basically, I didn't want you going first.
Yeah, that would be a good reason. Why to go? Why to
Well,
go first?
no,
Then?
because if I if I had turned around and if I allowed you, what I saw you doing was putting those two shrieking horrors
Mm-hmm.
all the way on the left flank, so that now I'm reacting to you.
Right.
All right, and the whole thing
Can't
is
have that
I
happen.
I can't have you dictating the tone of this game. Where like with ogres, not as much do they get to dictate, but like Empire and Kingdom, Orcs and Goblins, they don't get to dictate
Mm-hmm.
that to me because of the speed and that big bubble that he has. Okay, because of his general, he has the ability now to dictate movement in the game, and I just couldn't do that. So that's why I wanted first turn. So again, dwarves get first turn. My rangers are scouted there.
Mark knows my tricks too.
Mm-hmm. And I do turn around and I thought I vanguarded up my warriors. I did move up my one unit of warriors.
You probably just maybe didn't get a picture of it.
Yeah.
Or I was taking
I was
pictures.
going to say, you took the pictures.
I'm sorry, I neglect to take a picture of it then.
And you took this picture. I just don't.
Oh, we see it in the next one.
Okay. So
Here
again, there's my one single vanguard, and then basically there's my movement. His wolves, I don't care about. I move up junior. I move up my warriors. My deep watch. I don't know why I have them hoarded out. Probably because your what's that unit down there?
The Bear Guard.
The Barrow Guard.
So you get max attacks.
Yeah, I think that's why I did that. King is in that unit with my BSP with the spears.
Mm-hmm.
And the flaming banner is over there as well. So, and that was basically it. So I just moved up as so. Shooting wise, I only killed 4 dogs. That may have just been the Rangers. I think maybe an organ gun.
One organ gun
chipped in too with an engineer, and I still only killed 4 hounds. Over here, I killed 5 of
That's a good start.
the Barrow Guard. Yeah, but you're dead. You come back. And eventually we get them down to 2 dogs.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because we were deploying 1v1, I didn't get to put the wolves in the best spot. I kind of had to throw them out there as like a throwaway unit. I was just thrilled that there was any left after turn 1. So at least they could chaff something up.
Yeah, I think that was after my organ gun opened up. My organ gun did not perform well. At that turn anyway. So over here.
So this is VC.
Yep.
Turn. Yeah, the wolves that survived. I'm just going up to try to chaff both those units. Slow Mark down a little bit. That's really about it. Now on the right flank, this was interesting, and this was something we talked about after the game. I moved my skeletons up a bit. Breakthrough is a tough scenario for me, just because the army is not super fast. It's a lot of all my scoring units are slow. They're all just infantry.
Same here.
Right. And Mark has enough drops that his army spans most of the battlefield. So it's tough for me to sneak through. So I wasn't even so much focused on getting the objective myself. I just wanted to make sure that Mark couldn't sneak like that 10-man unit of warriors into my deployment zone. So I was really just expecting those skeletons to act as like a goalie and just and just make sure that my zone was protected. And it gives me options, because if those warriors don't go near those skeletons, maybe I can flank something with them, or maybe I can just march across the battlefield with them if they're totally ignored.
I expect you to completely march across the battlefield because you had combat res. And you had parry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was interested to see what Mark would do, and that would dictate what I would do with them in the next turn. So I just kind of moved them up there. The Bear Guard, I'm not in a hurry to move them up anywhere. I want to get a turn or two of magic in to increase my skeleton units, because I think those are important to protect my flanks and everything. And you see my armies moving us, so I move the bats closer to my central lines. They're protected by my general, and they have skirmish and long range. I'm not expecting them to be shot off, but I want the chaff there in case I need to redirect something. And then the horrors on the flank start to move around. What I'm setting up there is, hopefully, this was my game plan going in, is one, if he is allocating infantry resources over there, it gives my center more freedom to move up. But the other thing too is that he's only going to have one organ gun shooting at them. I don't think he's going to be able to kill one, especially since his engineer's near the other one. If I can double charge into the handgunners at the top of the screen, I should be able to kill them and then overrun off the board. And that would save them. And then I can move back on and start screaming off the organ guns. Yeah, so that's just, I grow more skeletons there.
Oh,
they look like ghouls. This is my magic phase. Yeah, I grow like 9 of them, and I grow 10 more over here. So I'm happy with that. But Mark, you used your Rune of Devouring to take one of my evokes away. Which,
from one of the necromancers too.
Yeah, and it's worse taking away from a necromancer because they can increase the size of the skeleton units. So that sucks, but nothing I can do about that.
So what you have now is dwarves turn 2. So I charged into the hounds with my unit of warriors, and if you see the two arcs on the field, what I'm doing is I'm trying to eye up where I can move my Vengeance Seeker to, because I want my Vengeance Seeker into the zombies. Alright, so at this point, my train of thought was I can get the Rangers, hopefully around the flank, alright, so I can get into the zombies and pin your characters. And if you turn around and choose to move out of the unit, I would also have Junior in there to say, not so fast, because he'll go after the characters then.
Right.
So that was my train of thought. That's basically all I have there. I think that's all I did. I'm in no big real rush to move forward either at this point in time. And that's it. Over here, no idea what it's a picture of. I put on -1 to wound. And I take out another couple skellies. Yay, I kill the dogs. I choose not to overrun. I just do a quick reform.
And the organ guns just performed terribly and didn't
really
do any wounds on the horrors.
They did nothing. I did 1 wound. That was it. I did 1 wound.
You did 1 wound. Yeah. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I did 1 wound. Yay. So over here,
VC turn 2.
So this is VC turn 2. He turned around, he charged, and I was going to choose to flee anyway, but I failed my terror test, and then rolled boxcars off the board.
They were terrified.
Apparently so, because that's 11 and a 12 right there. So they boogied off the board. And yeah, I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, I was really hoping that Mark didn't do this, but I mean, he made the right move here.
I didn't have a choice in this matter, but
yeah, you didn't have a choice, but like you said, you would have fled anyway. And then if you didn't flee off the board the first time, I would have then had to waste another charge move to push them off. So instead, I had 1 hard that could just move. That wasn't a failed charge. But yeah, I was really hoping that with dwarf stubbornness, he would just take it. So now it leaves them somewhat vulnerable, and you can see that his spears are turned to face them, so I have to be careful about where I move them.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to redirections the warriors.
No.
Come on, nice juicy flank.
No, thank you.
Not like there's a flaming unit of spears with someone who'd be strength 10 against you.
Yeah, even with 2 in the front, I'm not super confident about it. I might try it then, but definitely not with just 1.
Yep.
So anyway, so that's that. And so I moved the other one into the forest, because now at least it has soft cover automatically, plus range. It's just going to be tougher to shoot down. The other organ gun is just really far away, so I think he might even be out of range of one of them. Yeah.
He did take DT test for those of you wondering, and he passed he passed all of them.
Yep. They were good on their DTs.
And next turn he failed 2 and made 2 6-up or regen saves.
Yeah.
I'm like, you dirty word.
He's dead. He doesn't care.
He's not dead and buried. That's the issue.
And this is just movement. It looks more or less the same.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, my skeletons on the right kind of stay still. I'm still waiting to see what happens. Yeah, that's about it. Yep, so that's... Oh, this must be your turn now.
Yep.
Okay.
So now Dwarves turn 3. Finally get my Vengeance Seeker in there. They're looking at the flank of the Barrow Guard, and they can see the zombies, and nothing can see him. Meanwhile, the Rangers are up there in the flank.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I want to point out one thing before we continue.
Go ahead.
So Mark did something very sneaky, and I just want to point this out.
Come on!
Mark did, and it's a really good move. It's a veteran move, but I'm happy to say that I didn't fall for it. So you see where those warriors are at the top defending the wall, and then his spears are facing the horrors. Okay, so he's chaffing up himself with those warriors because those spears can't charge because they can't make the wheel, and they obviously can't go forward. The issue is, though, as long as those warriors are in charge distance of anything else, he doesn't even have to make the charge. He just has to roll high enough that they move forward and get out of the way. And then he can roll, I think it was like a 10 on Swift Stride with the spears into the 1 horror, which, if you know Mark will make every charge with his dwarves, basically, especially if it's a long one. So I said, I am not putting up with this. I moved back my skeletons because my skeletons were the only thing in charge range of the warriors. I moved them back 2 inches so that those warriors had nothing to charge, and now they're just stuck there. So I just wanted to point that out. If you ever play Mark, make sure you do that.
And that actually was my plan too.
Yeah,
that was my plan. All right, so over there, I just moved up the warrior, the 10-man unit, just to stop chaffing myself. Move the spears back a little bit just to see what he does. Because right now, everything's out of charge range with the exception of the spears. And I don't think you want to play with the spears right now.
Yeah. I mean, if it was like 2 auto charges, maybe, but not where I have to roll for both of them.
And they were distance.
Yeah. They weren't super easy charges to make.
All right. So, shooting. Yay. 2 dead. Yay. 1 wound. Oh, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
Oh, look, more skellies. Oh, no, 2 die. They'll come back. They always come back. So, I believe this is now VC turn 3. Bottom of 3.
Yeah, so you see at the bottom, Chucky has threaded the needle, so to speak, and it's coming up. And I know what Mark's planning to do with him. I moved the Necromancers out, and I moved the zombies up. Vengeance Seeker is not in charge range of the Necros. They're safe back there. They're out of organ gun range.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fine. Like, I don't need them to do anything. They're just magic support. I will say I made an error here. Because right now my zombies are only still 20 strong, I left the cadaver wagon in the unit, thinking that if the Vengeance Seeker does get in there, he's the one thing that might help to actually put wounds on him. And that if you just go on the zombies, 20 zombies, you could kill those like pretty easily in a couple rounds of combat. I probably shouldn't have been so worried. I should have just moved the cadaver wagon out of the unit.
Yeah.
And just like been like, okay, and I just keep raising zombies back to the unit and just let the zombies hold them up.
Yep.
The rest of the game. But no, so that was my mistake. I think later on I saw like I didn't need to leave the wagon in there. I could have moved it out also. But anyway, I then move my bats up to chaff the Vengeance Seeker because I don't want him going into my Bearer Guard to hold them up.
Mm-hmm.
I now make an aggressive move with the Bearer Guard up, and my skeletons charge the warriors. His spears can't get into the skeletons, and they can't see the Bearer Guard. I'm perfectly okay with those Deep Watch charging in to the Bearer Guard unaided, with no support. They probably win the first round of combat, but then in the grind, I should win overall, because I get to raise my Bearer Guard back, they're hitting on 2s, they're strength 5, and then whatever buffs I can get off on them.
And that's why I'm not trying to move them any further forward either, because...
Yeah. And this is interesting because it's one of the very few times that I just don't care about his Deep Watch charging something. So I was wondering what Mark might do. I moved the General over because he was a little bit far out to reach the March Bubble for the other horror, so just to position them better. And now I'm just trying to set myself up where it was tricky, and I made minor mistakes with movement. I wasn't as careful as I could have been. But I'm trying to like keep just the one organ gun in range of both, but at the same time I want them close enough that if I roll charges with both, one of them should get into that organ gun and kill it, and then I could have something in the backfield to try and do something and try to force the issue a bit. In Magic, I get, I think, re-rolling
hits and wounds.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I think it's re-rolling to wound, and then I got lightning reflexes off on them. That's what the other one was for. Yeah. So now I'm really excited if those Deep Watch come in, because they're hitting on 2s and they're re-rolling to wound. So that's that. I think if this is Magic, it's just more skeletons that I might have brought up here. So it's a pretty big unit. And then it ends up being a pillow fight, I think.
I think I won combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dwarves won combat there.
No.
Or
I think you lost, but you just held. Because I would have had a lot of static res on my side.
You did, but I charged rank.
I charged you.
You charged me?
I charged you.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, then I got lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you were losing by like 2 or 3, but I mean, leadership 10 with a reroll. It's not It's not that big of a deal that you're going to stick. On the other side, I didn't say before, but my skeletons charged the warriors with... Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is your turn.
Yeah, I charged you.
You charged me this turn.
Yep. Mainly because I wanted that first round of combat with the higher strength. Rather than strength 5, I wanted the strength 6. But I also want to keep you away from my organ gun.
Yep. That's fair.
So that's why, because you asked me, why did you do this? I'm like, because I needed a roadblock.
I figured if I got too close to the organ gun, you would have just thrown the other Vengeance Seeker in front of him.
That's what would have happened, and
so that's why I figured like you would have just not cared, because that Vengeance Seeker probably wouldn't have gone anywhere.
I cared. That's all I can say is I cared. And that's it. So what you do see at the bottom right, though, is Junior did make it in because I was able to wheel around. Because, again, you have to be 1 inch away. It's an individual model. He just couldn't block the charge.
No, I didn't care if he charged into the zombies. I just didn't want him to go in the Bearer Guard.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because he had left his, it's called Cadaver Wagon?
Yeah.
Cadaver Wagon there, I'm like, I've got my sights on that thing. That thing's got to go. And that's that. So there's that charge into them with the warriors. Let's see.
Just moving those rangers around.
Moving the rangers around. Unfortunately, I failed my march test, which sucked. Because that actually forced me to do that. I did not actually want to charge, but it forced me to do it. And the reason why is like, well, why did you do it if you didn't want to do it? So the reason why I did that charge is because I didn't want the Cadaver Wagon to get away. I had to kill that. The second reason is now that pinned his bunker where it's going to be. It's not going to move unless he kills Junior, and Junior still has 3 wounds, and he's tough to hit and tough to wound, especially for the zombies. So that's 2 reasons right there. or 3 reasons right there. Secondly, he could not rejoin his characters into that unit. So if he wanted to move them up for easier buff spells or anything like that, he then would have to get in range of the organ guns.
Yep.
So that was my line of reasoning. So as Ryan alluded to earlier, there goes, was that Fluffy or Fifi?
Oh, we'll say it was Fluffy.
Okay, so Fluffy got a little too close for comfort, and the organ guns just opened up. And
both of them could shoot at him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she died. Over here, Bats got the Bats down to like 1 wound. I really don't care about the Bats at this point. And over here, he killed 2 of mine. I killed a bunch of his, but it doesn't matter. He's a skeleton. Who cares?
Yeah.
They come back. Over here, again, for whatever reason, whether I've lost combat or just 1 combat, it's a we both end up sticking around at that close combat, and this is your turn 4.
Yep.
Go to town, man.
So I'm just waiting because I know with the static combat res, one of these times, one of those warrior units will break, and I'm just hoping it opens up some type of opportunity. As with the horror, the one died. I really don't have enough firepower to put pressure on that flank, so I just moved this one over here to make sure that I don't lose those points. And now it's in hard target range of my general. I moved the Great Bats back for the same reason. I don't need them. I'm like wishing every turn that those Deep Watch just charge the Barrow Guard. I really want it to happen. And other than that, there's really not much that I can move. In Magic, I miscast on 2 dice.
3 dice.
3 dice.
Yep, and then
the next one I do 2 dice and I miscast again. So
you lose like nothing. Yeah. I think maybe you took 1 wound out of it.
Because my Necros, were out of the unit, so it didn't hurt me too bad, and they were low rolls. So, and this was my last roll. It was a big Magic phase, and I rolled like the best roll I could do without miscasting. So I got like all the spells off that I wanted to. It was great. Like the zombie unit is huge now. I just didn't put all the models on because I did a bubble evoke, so now my Great Bats are healthy. The 1 wound on the horror was healed. I got skeletons back. My Barrow Guard are fully healed. All was right with the world. And the last turn, I don't think the Cadaver Wagon even took any wounds from.
No, it took 4 wounds. You made 4 saves.
Yeah, regen. Regen's really good, guys. It helps a lot. And into combat, the one warrior unit broke to static res. I think the skeleton slightly overperformed as well. And they broke, and I ran. I chased them down, and now things are looking really good because the Vengeance Seeker's facing the other way. So he's not going to be able to hold me up. And if the Engineer charges the flank, I'm not so sure, how that would go, just because I have static res, and then I could, even if he doesn't break, I could reform and then...
Be the following turn.
Yeah, it'd be the following turn. So now I'm thinking, not that I don't even care about this unit doing any damage, I just want to march them into the deployment zone and get the objective. Because I feel good now that Mark's units aren't going to get into my zone. This is the difference in the game right now. And then this is your turn. That unit stays the same.
Yep. So, seeing his Barrow Guard and everything else going, I don't want to get close to you. I charge my king out to help my warriors because I need to turn around. I want to hold up that 1 unit of skeletons. I don't want them to break through to then be having me to now divide and keep them out of my deployment zone. And I made sure the king could not get charged by the Barrow Guard because that would be bad.
Yeah.
And that was basically it. That really was it. Did I do anything else funky?
I think you just moved your Deep Watch back a little bit.
Yeah, I did move the Deep Watch back a little bit. And over here, my Vengeance Seeker is able to chaff him up.
Yep, the 9 inches was just able to get him in front.
Yep. And over here, I got -1 to hit off and reroll misses on the king. And
oh my gosh,
the organ guns open up. I could have sworn you lost more than just 5
No, I
models.
do. In the next picture, you see it. that was like all of Mark's shooting.
Yeah,
that skeleton is down to nothing.
Each organ gun cleared off 5 models per organ gun. And then I think over here, put 3 wounds on the cadaver wagon. And that was it. He put 1 wound on my Seeker, my Vengeance Seeker there. This combat, I won combat. And he's a skeleton. He's got lots of skeletons. They don't die.
That combat's not going anywhere the rest of the game.
But at the same time, if he wanted to turn around and throw his character in there, I would have been fine with that challenge. Okay, going against my king.
I think I fed you the champion the first round.
You did.
Yeah.
You did feed the champion.
Just because you have hatred and everything else.
And that's that. So, this is now the Vengeance, the Vampires turn 5.
Yep. So now it's do or die time. That shooting phase really crushed my spirit. I need to get. He has 1 more turn left, and I need to get these remaining skeletons into that deployment zone. The issue is I don't have quite enough right now. Well, I won't have enough to do the reform shenanigans and make them big enough to get into the deployment zone. So I just have to swift reform past the Vengeance Seeker and then hope next turn I can do something. If nothing else, just to conserve their points. What else is going on? So I charged the Beauregard because he moved them back. And I'm like, oh crap, he's not going to charge in. And I don't normally like charging the Beauregard unless I know I'm crushing the unit the first turn, because it's better to be charged because then I can grow them back in the following turn. But because his king charged out, that's a whole different unit to fight now. Because the Runic Smith's not tough to kill. And as long as I kill that Runic Smith and I win combat, there's no bodyguard. He's not stubborn. I could break them. And he's not going to be steadfast or anything else. So I'm thinking, this is my chance. It's my magic phase. If I get like a combat buff off, even though I'm -1 to hit, I'm still hitting on 3s. This could still work. I think the horror in my general, I move up for a turn 6 charge to see if I can get those points on the warriors and his king. Because all I have to do is just beat up on the warriors, and that king could break. So that's my late game attempt to try to win. Everything else pretty much stays where it is. My magic phase is going to be tough because I'm going to be trying to do a lot of different things. I move the Great Bats up as much as possible. I'm trying to chaff that dwarf warrior unit because I know that he has the potential of... I'm not so much worried about the Beauregard getting flanked, but it's getting into the skeletons also. Either one is just really, really bad for me. So in the magic phase, I get a decent magic phase, and I figure, okay, I can either do Raise Dead or Danse Macabre to get those bats there, and you stop the Raise Dead, I get Danse Macabre, and now I chaff up the spears. And then I got rerolls to wound off on the Beauregard. You stopped rerolls to hit. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough that I could heal the cadaver wagon. So I'm just resigned to the fact that it's just going to die. And I'll just have to live with it. It's fine.
It should have been dead already.
Yeah, and that too. So we go into combat. This combat, yeah, nobody's going anywhere. We're just chilling there.
I'm winning combat, but it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, I think basically I still wasn't crumbling because I had ranks and stuff like that. So that's just another picture. This combat goes horribly, horribly wrong, as you can see. Now, I'm hitting on...
Any, you're going first.
I'm initiative 3 with halberds. I'm hitting you on 4s, I think.
Yes, because I had -1 to hit.
Yeah, -1 to hit. So, I mean, I'm getting 30 attacks before the Barrow King swings. So I'm getting like 15 hits, and then I re-rolls to wound at strength 5.
You refused his challenge.
Yes.
But we did go back and allow him to play it where he didn't refuse a challenge.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's take a minute to talk about this. Because, so Mark challenged at the beginning, and I declined because I thought with bodyguard, it doesn't affect bodyguard if you decline. And I thought that because it's been done so many times to me before.
Mm-hmm. Now here's the thing: is I right now I'm currently the head of playtesting, and Nick Reed, who used to be a person who is a great guy, by the way, used to be a person I play on Sundays. Let's just say, I swear that he does nothing but read that rule book. Worse than
He knows his rules.
He knows his rules. So we turn around and we're talking, and one of the things I want us to look at is like challenges. And he's going, well, why? And I start saying, this is what I know. He's like, all right, go to page 80. Go to page, and he walks me through it. So basically, here's the thing. If you have a model with bodyguard and you decline the challenge, you then that model that joins bodyguard had gained stubborn. So it's not that his unit was stubborn; it's the Barrow King was stubborn.
Right.
And when you refuse a challenge, you lose stubborn.
So some of you might have known this already, but for those of you that don't, if this has been done to you, look at the bodyguard special rule. Bodyguard confers the stubborn special rule onto a character. And then if you decline a challenge, the character loses stubborn. So therefore you lose the bodyguard.
Exactly.
That's how that works. So yeah, so I made a mistake. Obviously I would have accepted the challenge, and Mark knew that. Because I was like, wait a second, I thought it didn't affect anything, blah, blah,
we
blah.
didn't have you accept challenge. We just let you roll the hit.
Yeah, we just said okay. And like, the difference would have been I would have lost more Beauregard due to crumble at the end because I wouldn't have had bodyguard. But in any case, what happens is, on average I'm getting 15 hits. I'm rerolling the wound, strength 5, lethal strike. I rolled abysmally with my hit rolls. It was bad.
And I did make some saves too.
Yeah, and Mark made a couple saves. I killed like 2 deep watch. Oh no, Mark's holding up one finger. I killed 1 deep watch. So it was really bad. And then I had 6 guys that could attack the runic smith, thinking like that should be enough to kill, because I'm doing 2 wounds per
He's only
wound.
T4.
Right, and I only need 2 wounds to get through, and I only get 1 wound through because Mark made like 3 armor saves. So he has 2 wounds on him, so he's still alive. It was just a totally failed combat. And I'm not worried about losing the unit necessarily because the bats are there to chaff, but like that was a prime opportunity to win this combat big, and they just failed me. And this is after crumble, just horrible.
Yeah, so at that point it swung to advantage me. During that combat phase, I finally killed the cadaver wagon. So he's like, all right, zombies fill in. I think the whole stays there. I don't think he ever did anything.
Yep.
And at this point,
there's like 40 zombies, so it didn't matter.
It's like Junior's not going anywhere, but he did his job.
Absolutely.
So here's how this looks. So I charge in. Now, right now, you notice the spears they have the charge, and it was a flank charge, because during combat reforms I picked my king up and I slid him down the line, because everyone was still in combat. So then all I'd have to do is kill the bats, be able to get into them with the overrun, get to declare a charge, and then hit the flank. So, or even if we declare it up front. So after we did this, he says, crap, I was trying to chaff you. Here's the thing. We're playing in my basement.
Yeah.
And end of the day, you have a beer. You have a good time. It's not a question about winning. It's about playing the game, having fun, and playing it well. So we're like, I knew what you're trying to do. Here's how you would have done. Because he still could have done it, where had he positioned his bats properly, I just would have went down that chute right between the 2 units. And basically run into my king. He just screwed up.
Yeah, and I'll say Mark is a very gracious opponent in this way for allowing this to go on. Because, I mean, we spent a lot of time, like, I was moving those bats, finagling the unit and trying to see, am I an inch away from this unit, doing this and that. And, like, sometimes when you're just doing so much, like, attention to it and it's taking so much time, you just put the unit down. And it's like, okay, like, that's where it is. And then with the overrun, we first thought it was a front, but then after Mark moved the spears in, it was a flank. It was just like all this stuff, and Mark was gracious enough to say, like, okay, like, you could have chaffed them. We know what you're trying to do. Like, let's just
let's
leave
just,
it at that.
Yeah, just let it go. And let's see. What else? So over here, there actually is a junior in front of that unit of skeletons there, even though I have a lot of other dead dwarfs over there. So I'm chaffing him up again. That unit of skeletons should not be able to reach my deployment zone no matter what at this point in time.
I would have to get like a magic spell off on them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I've got the Rangers and everything else kind of closing in for the kill. Over here, this combat, now I have reroll hits and -1 to hit up on that unit of Deep Watch. So I'm feeling fairly confident I'm going to be able to survive at this point. And I didn't care because even if he kills my Runic Smith, my spells are still going to be up and going at that point. Over here, if you notice, the skeletons are missing. I think that was one organ gun. No, you still had 1 or 2 skeletons left. My engineer had to finish them off.
Yeah, he literally, with his engineer and that stupid forge repeater, I had 2 skeletons left, and he killed exactly the 2 skeletons they needed to get full points.
Yep. So that was that. I put... So right now, with shooting with the other organ gun, I put 1 wound on his general, but after I turned to him, I'm like, wait, you have this, this, and this, right? He's like, I never would... And he goes, yeah. Like, I never in a million years would bother shooting your general. That's just worthless.
Yep.
The shots are going on the horror and abysmal horror, and it did nothing. I think maybe did 1 or 2 wounds, so it did nothing.
Because it was, I think, long range still, and then hard target from the general. Yeah.
So over here, I lost like 4 or 5 dwarves. He lost at least 5 there.
I think I actually won combat by 1, just because
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we stuck around.
Runic Smith finally died.
Yep. The damage is done.
Oh my gosh. You know what? It's still a point of pride just to kill that Runic Smith. So I'm happy with it.
Over here, the skeletons are getting smaller. There weren't quite as many as there were a while ago. And
this is the last turn.
Yeah, I just don't know why we have this picture.
Because I failed charge. So this is the last turn of the game, and I told you before, this is my end game strategy, is try to get my general and horror into this combat. The issue is that the horror's base is too big, so he can't fit into the flank, because it's going to overlap the impassable terrain.
And there's no closing the door anymore, because I'm already engaged in combat.
Right. And I looked even just to clip the unit, because I don't, as long as I could get in, but it still didn't fit. Now, I had the other horror, and I picked it up, and I was going to actually look at it, but I just didn't bother doing it. We were just wrapping things up. So I just failed charge. What I would have done instead is just charge the general into the flank. We actually rolled it later. He would have held. So it didn't end up mattering. It was a good chance I could get something done. Just didn't work out for me. So that combat just continues. Nothing's going to happen there. I just moved the necromancers up because it's the last turn. Try to do some buffs. I do a wound to Junior. He lives, though. The zombies stay with them. And the Barrow Guard, I don't remember what happens in that combat.
You're down to like 4 or 5 by the end.
No, I had more than that.
I thought you had less. I thought you only had 1 sheet out.
I think I had at least 7 or 8 at the end. But yeah, I mean, basically, the end game is that that combat's going nowhere. We're still fighting each other. So it's not a super bloody game. Is this last picture?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, and this is
that's my one of my cat stands. I have a dog and 2 cats, and he kept eyeing up the dead things. That's all I can say. I'm like, go ahead, Stanley, go ahead, take them, and that was that. So the net results was as I notice on this slide now.
Yeah, you neglected.
I completely neglected. So Dwarven holds victory.
It was a 12-8.
Yeah.
Because neither of us got the objective.
Yep.
And as we were saying, it wasn't a very bloody game. We didn't kill that much. So Mark, basically with killing the Shrieking Horror, that put him up enough on points.
Well, the Shrieking Horror and the Unit Skellies.
Yeah.
The Unit Skellies was the last thing I killed.
Yeah, but the Shrieking Heart is 500 points, so that's a big point swing.
Yeah. So
But yeah.
so again, that was a mistake. There. I'm not saying one would not have died later on, but yeah, I mean that I think that definitely stands out. So this actually is MVPs, being his unit of skeletons that held up against a 10-man unit of warriors.
Okay, I mean the skeletons did their job more or less. They protected my flanks. They held up your king and that warrior unit, so you weren't at least getting them into my deployment zone. And the other one actually killed the warrior unit, which is fantastic. And they had a chance. If not, at least getting into your deployment zone for the objective, they tried, but at least, like, they got some points and maybe could conserve their points. Didn't work out, but,
And for me, organ guns with the engineer. I mean, that, it wasn't a huge amount of points that they got, but they did turn around, they did kill the skellies, they did kill the Shrieking Horror, or Abysmal Horror.
Shrieking Horror. Yep.
And so that right there is roughly 900 points that they got. So, but the big thing was board control, and I think Ryan, you have to agree with that. Without, let's go all the way back to the beginning.
Deployment and board control was huge in this game.
Yeah,
it was a chess match, and that was the fun part about it. Even though there wasn't a lot of models.
Oh yeah,
that were killed off. It was a chess match.
Yeah, here we go. So this is a slightly better picture here. So now I'll go back to that picture there. So if you look where my organ guns are, one's next to Junior just on the hill. The other one is behind the other Junior in between the two units. They controlled the center of the board. They did. Yep. And that means that he's going to have to go around the flanks. And here's a big difference between organ guns versus cannons. And I know it's always up for debate. Organ guns are consistent against everything.
Whereas cannons are hit or miss.
Yeah, and cannons, you're gonna hit big, win big, but the organ guns are going to turn around and just be able to maintain what they're doing, maintain that board control. It's like he moved his skeletons up. Okay, one organ gun drops a rank. Second organ gun drops another rank. You moved a Shrieking Horror into range, drops a Shrieking Horror. So
if you can get both on one, it's bad. And the misfire thing is a big deal too. Like if I'm playing a double cannon list, as long as my horrors are hidden from them, take your cannon shots. As soon as you misfire with one of them, then you're in trouble because I don't care about one cannon hitting into them. Whereas organ guns, you have to get really unlucky to actually misfire.
Yeah, and even if you're only hitting with one organ gun, you still have a chance.
Yeah.
Okay, because, I mean, especially if you throw an engineer into the mix. So those of you who do play dwarves, that is definitely a tactic I recommend. I think it has definitely earned the respect of my opponents, because I still remember us having a conversation regarding the projectile weapons and the bashing that went on about the organ guns. With that group, and going out with Wargaming from the Balcony, letting Gene just rip into me. And I've never played Gene. The one time I went to play Gene after Battle Cry, it's like, what time does the store close? 15 minutes. All right, just pack it up. We're done.
Yeah.
And he still gives me crap just because I play dwarves. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for listening to us. Any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and add it all the way at the bottom. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I want to go all the way to the very end, just out of force of habit. There we are. And there we go. Again, skeletons were the MVP, and the organ guns with the engineer. Until next time,